I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photo chats. So today I want to talk about your easy chair and how nothing really great happens when we are in our easy chair. I've often thought of this, like sometimes we have to step outside of our comfort zone, and maybe that's the most interesting thing about art is when we are willing to go and say, I'm going to try something I've never done before. Maybe that's where the magic lies, where you go and do something that's completely new to you, that you've been afraid to do, or that you didn't know how to get started in, and suddenly you try. I do stand-up comedy at open mics sometimes, and at first it seems daunting of how am I going to go up there and how am I going to perform? And then you realize the barrier is pretty low. You just have to get up and start, and you have to be prepared and you have to try. There's a lot of things I think in this world where the barrier to entry is this high. And we think it's monumental, and it's not. But we just have to get started. And I think that goes for photo projects. Somebody recently wrote me and said, I love that you make street portraits. You make such great street portraits. I wish I had the courage to do it. And I want to say, just go do it. You don't need courage. You need to just ask somebody. I often think like even when I see people, I'm like, I can't look at them and wonder whether they'll say yes or no. I just have to go up and say, hey, I'm using this old camera to make portraits like this. May I photograph you? May I make your portrait? And you have to do it on the quick without thinking, because if you think about it, you'll stop yourself. But nothing great happens when we're in our easy chair. It's when we're putting ourselves out on the line. We're applying to be in a show. We're printing work and we're going to show it somewhere. We're doing something that's going to say, hey, here I am. I'm going to put this out. People who come to my local photo show at the pub where we have a screen and projector and people show their work, that's a daring thing to do for some people. Hey, I'm going to go out there and show this is the work that I made. I hope they like it. This is who I am. This is what I see. This is how I see it. This is what I chose. Of all the things I could have chosen to put up on that screen, this is what I made. What do you think? Do you like? How does it compare to the other people in the room? I could just stay home and not put myself on the line. That's an easy way. But we have to put ourselves on the line. I think the discomfort in trying something that makes you a little scared, that's where the magic is. Getting out and saying, I'm going to try and do a landscape if you're a street photographer. Or I'm going to go out and do street if I'm a nature photographer. I'm going to go up and make portraits of people by saying hello to them. I'm going to go and photograph a whole day from just the ground and call it the ground series and put it somewhere in a local gallery or a coffee shop. I'm going to do something that's going to challenge my thinking into what else can I do? What else can I do that's daring to do something that isn't what I've always done? And if you get off that easy chair, and we all have to do it, and you go out and you try things, things will happen. The muse exists, but she has to find us working. It really doesn't matter what you're working on. Just get started working, and then you can modify and tailor it to what needs to happen to make the art that you're trying to make, but maybe you'll find it in the process. But there's so much about just go make the work. Go out and get started. Get started. Put the paintbrush on the canvas and get started. You've heard me say, there are painters who say, when I have an idea for the canvas and I go to paint, those come out great. But when I go out with no idea and I start painting, sometimes things happen that I could never have come up with. Go out and get started. Get out of that comfortable chair and go out and make something spectacular. All right, that's today's photography talk. Hey, if you're enjoying this, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, hit the Patreon. Thanks to all my supporters. I appreciate you. I'll be back next week. We'll talk more photography. As always, here's the good light.